Hi, everybody. It is Monday the 8th or Tuesday, March 9th. So you just have today and one more in-person class, and then we'll start try 3. Today, we are going to start with our comprehension strategies. So that's the prediction strategy using Clue. So if you would please open up, you should have grabbed your binder by now and open up to the green booklet. Okay, so open up to the green booklet for today, and we will be looking at story 2D, the national anthem. So make sure you take out story 2D, the national anthem, page 17. Today and the next time I will read the stories to you, but starting try 3, you will be working on the stories yourselves. The last time we did story 2C, early Olympics, and then you plotted your score. So when looking at the national anthem, as you're on page 17 and 18, you apply the Clue strategy. So when you start these by yourself, for try 3 after spring break, you would look at it and you'd say, oh, I know that it has something to do with patriotic things because you can see a flag. I know it has something to do with music because you can see music notes there. The national anthem must be something about a song for our nation because national is part of the title. So that's C. Then link to prior knowledge. Well, I know that we sing the national anthem sometimes before sports. I know that it's really important to our world. The national anthem has a lot to do with our service and those people who have given us freedoms, okay? And thinking about how can you link to the C things that you said. Then uncover predictions. If I think about what is this going to be about, I'm gonna think that this story is going to tell us a little bit about the national anthem, what it means, maybe how it was presented or developed. Then I would read the passage or the article, and then I would do the E part for examine the reading. So you make another prediction, tell about or reflect on what you've read. So that's Clue. You do that to yourself. When I set the timer for try 3, I'll set it for 15 minutes. So you do Clue quick to yourself. You don't do it out loud, but just to yourself. And you would apply this strategy to other stories as well. Then you would have to look at the questions. So if you go to page 69, the questions for the national anthem, you read them to yourself at this time. So you read the questions, then I'll read the story to you. So go ahead, read the questions. Okay, so now you should finish up the questions, and then you go on to the story itself. So again, I'll read it to you today and next time, but otherwise you're going to do Clue, read the questions, read the story, do the quiz on your own. So here we go. The national anthem. The words of the American national anthem, the Star-Spangled Banner, were written on the spur of the moment. It was a moment when feelings were most intense. It was a moment during the War of 1812 on the morning of September 14th, 1814. The British had captured an American doctor and were holding him on their fleet anchored off Baltimore, Maryland. Francis Scott Key, a young lawyer, arranged to go out under a flag of truce and ask for the doctor's release. But the British were planning an attack on Fort McHenry before moving on to attack Baltimore. They detained Key for several days until their attack would be over. Therefore, Key was himself a prisoner on the night of September 13th, when he watched the beginning of the British bombardment. The ship Key was on was anchored where he could not avoid seeing the fight. The Americans had recently suffered losses. The capital in Washington had been burned by the enemy. The British were confident they would succeed in their new attack. They believed Key would witness his nation's defeat and destruction. It was a terrible night for him. He paced the decks, unable to sleep. He peered through the darkness, trying to see the shells landing on the fort. In the twilight, just before darkness fell, he had seen a great flag of stars and stripes flying in the breeze above the fort. Would he see that same flag flying in the morning? Gradually, the darkness began to lift. Streaks of daylight appeared in the east. There was a mist above the water, and Key could not see the fort. The bombs and firing had ceased suddenly in the night. If only he could see which flag was flying. A breeze began to blow the mist away. Straining his eyes, Key saw what he had hardly dared to hope for. With a corner shot away and one star gone, the star-spangled banner was still flying above the fort. Key was so excited that he snatched an envelope out of his pocket and began writing down the words that came to him. He completed the 4 verses back on land. The words were sung to an English tune that was popular at the time. The lyrics in the tune were stirring. Patriotism was in the air. In time, the song became the American national anthem. Okay, I'll stop the timer, or I'll stop the video, and then I'll set the timer for 10. You will want to complete the questions, and then any vocab that you need to finish up, warm-ups, reading assignment sheet 5 through 8, or making sure that you've read chapter 9 for today. So I'll stop the video now. Okay, welcome back. We are going to go over the answers for passage 2D, and then you can plot your answers for 2D. Okay, so everybody make sure you have something to correct with. Get out your progress or your plot chart, and I'm going to go over 2D, the national anthem, at this time. Okay, so you should be on like the ninth little spot on the bottom, because we have 2E for next time, and then we'll be done for try 2. I'll give you a new plot chart for try 3. Okay, here we go. The national anthem. Number 1 is B, 2, C, 3, A, 4, B, 5, C, 6, A, 7, A, 8, B, 9, C, 10, A. Okay, so plot your score. Plot your score. You might have one link left at the end if you plotted to the left. So go ahead and plot your score for 2D. Again, if it's 7 out of 10, you're right below the 7 line if you're doing it that way. Or 8 out of 10, so forth. Okay, so that's 2D. All right, so at this time, you can put your progress chart and your answer sheet right into your green booklet, where we'll start 2E next time. You might even change your sticky note to 2E for next time. Okay, so that's where we're at on the prediction strategy using Clue for the comprehension test. Okay, let's set that aside at this time. Now we'll go over our slideshow here. No longer am I creating a daily document. Okay, so we'll be looking at chapter 10 in just a little bit and moving on. So chapter 9 was our last story or chapter, and I asked you to read that over the weekend. So we're going to take time now to summarize chapter 9 page by page, and I'll assign you a page. So I'm going to stop the video. We'll do a little chapter 9 summary, and then look at chapter 10 together today. Okay? All right, stopping the video. Summary of chapter 9. Okay, we're back now and looking at chapter 10, and I'm going to ask you to look at the think aloud statements, thinking about where Tyray is at. That would be some kind of reading clues. It's Monday morning. people are finding out about the gun, spreading through Blueford, link to prior knowledge. Well, I would say when people start to know about the gun, they're going to start to fear Tyree and maybe he'll get caught. Uncovering predictions. Well, I predict that Tyree is going to set himself up for a lot of trouble. And then we'll read it, and that would be the examine. So I'm going to ask 5 of you a think aloud statement. So look in the lower right-hand corner, as you see on the screen here, and thinking about a think aloud statement before we begin. I'll stop the video and then ask 5 of you your think aloud statements. Okay, so now we're going to look at chapter 10. We're on page 108, chapter 10, and we will be listening to the audio for chapter 10, which is our last chapter, and then we will summarize it the next time and look at vocab. Okay, so I'll stop the video now. We'll summarize the video or chapter 10 after listening, and then I'll look at the 2 vocab. Okay, let's get back to the 2 vocab. We don't have 2 vocab because we've completed vocab set 7. So if you turn that in, then you're all good to go. Finishing chapter 10, we are finishing the story, and the warm-ups for the gun worksheet 7 and 8 are due today. So at this time, you should complete the warm-ups to the gun for worksheet 7, 8. Show them to me or turn them in. You should complete any vocab set 7 steno pad that you haven't completed yet. And you might also have to read a chapter if you finished or if you missed chapter 9 last time. Okay, so I'm going to put this other screen up. So make sure that you are completing any late work at this time with the time that we have left. So again, reading assignment, the stuff in the orange box, and vocab set 7 was already due. Okay, so I'm going to give you a little work time at this time. Keep your phones put away. I'll stop the video, and then you will have time to work on your missing assignments and completing anything that you need to complete for this class.